What is up, my mates of YouTube? My name is Aussie Marcel, and in today's video we're going to be looking at Whisky Black Op by Evaflor. It is meant to be a cheap clone of Dior Sauvage, so let's see how it compares to a couple of other cheap Dior Sauvage clones. If that sounds good to you, let's get into the video. So many people in the comments were recommending this one to me because of the price. It comes in at $20 Australian at Chemist Warehouse, and because it's supposed to smell like Dior Sauvage. So I figured, rather than compare it to Dior Sauvage, which is $130 Australian plus, I mean, it's actually gone up in price here in Australia from what I've noticed. So rather than compare it with that, which is out of reach for a lot of people, I'm going to be comparing it to Tavax Craftsman, which is another budget Dior Sauvage clone, and something a little pricier, Davidoff Cool Water Parfum. Both of these fragrances should make a better comparison to Whisky Black Op. We're going to see how it compares, and I'm going to tell you which one is worth getting. So Whisky Black Op comes in at about $20 Australian. You can find it on eBay and at Chemist Warehouse. I like how the design is sort of embossed with this kinda looks like camouflage crossed with lightning bolts. This sort of color scheme and design are going to appeal to those people that are on the younger side, that are still into Call of Duty Warzone and Mountain Dew and energy drinks. And yeah, I think it looks interesting. It's definitely got an interesting vibe to it. Here's the back of it as well. Let's open it up and have a look. Here's the bottle in the packaging. Here is the bottle. Definitely has that 15-year-old appeal to it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, if you're a teenager and you're like stepping up from Lynx or Axe body spray, you're gonna see something like this on the shelf and you're gonna go, wow, this is gonna look cool in my room. It's either this or one of those police skull bottles, you know? I know when I was in high school, I looked at those police fragrances and I was like, wow, that's in a skull. I want some of those fragrances. And they're okay for the price as well. It does feel cheap though. It's got a cheap feel to it. But it's all about the smell. How does it smell? Atomizer is solid, I'll give it that. Oh wow. It does smell quite a bit like Dior Sauvage, eh? It's a little fresher. You get that orange peel, orange zest vibe in the opening. You get a hefty dose of incense and smoke. Supple leather or suede.
Supple leather, you know. You ever rub your leather?
It's a touch more floral than Sauvage though. And it's a little fresher than Sauvage as well. As it's drying on the tester strip, I'm getting a bit of soap or shampoo or shower gel, something like that. It's quite a nice fragrance. I mean, at that $20 price point, I may have to adjust my like best fragrances for under $35 list to accommodate this. Okay, I want to compare that to Tavax Craftsman now. This was previously one of the best $15 to $20 fragrances you could get. Having said that though, enough with the useless plastic packaging inside. It's terrible for the environment. Just use cardboard inserts like some of the other brands do. Now from memory, this is a harsh smelling fragrance in the opening. Yep. Almost singeing my nostril hairs here. There's way more amber and ambroxan in this one. It's synthetic. It's more synthetic than Black Op. It's still very nice smelling though. I think, honestly, if you're like a high schooler or you're just starting college or something like that, this kind of a fragrance is going to appeal to you more, I think, just because it's so strong. Like, you're going to be able to drench yourself in this. You're going to be able to give yourself like a Dior Sauvage clone shower. And it smells pretty nice, but it is more synthetic than Black Op. It's a little harsher as well. But I already know this performs amazingly. I can't tell you for certain how long Black Op performs.
Nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear.
Whatever.
Nuclear.
One of the commenters on my video said that this performs for about 9 hours. They didn't say how many sprays they used though, but 9 hours is pretty solid. This, on the other hand, one spray lasts over 12 hours. That's solid performance, especially at that $15 to $20 price point. I know I picked up this bottle of Craftsman from Priceline for $15 on sale, and at that price, it is incredible. If you don't want something ultra synthetic and harsh though, I would probably steer clear of this one. But it does smell very close to Dior Sauvage. Just a little harsher, a little more screechy. Kinda hot though, not gonna lie. Now to compare it with the most expensive fragrance of the bunch, Davidoff Cool Water Parfum. Now I'm on record for saying this one is quite nice for the price point. I definitely prefer it to Reborn. You can pick up Cool Water Parfum for $40 to $50 at Chemist Warehouse, or you can pick up Reborn for about the same price. And I reviewed this one last week. I'm a big fan of it. It smells similar to Sauvage as well, except it's a little fresher, it's a little cleaner, and it has some floral vibes. So it's more of a cousin to that sort of Dior Sauvage style DNA rather than a direct clone of it like Cool Water Parfum tries to be. This one comes in at double the price of the other fragrances that we've tried today. So, are you getting double the fragrance in terms of value? Straight away, that initial fragrance you get, it smells almost identical to pine needles, like green pine needles. It's actually quite nice. I get pine needles, more of a mandarin vibe rather than an orange vibe. You get a subtle bit of smoke here, some of that fresh, responsibly harvested vetiver. It sounds like I'm fucking doing an ad read for Davidoff here. But this is quite a nice smelling fragrance for that price. Cool Water Parfum is the classiest smelling of the three. From experience though, the performance is only at about that 7 to 8 hour mark with 3 sprays. If you're after sheer performance and longevity, Tobacco Craftsman has you covered with that 12 hours plus with 1 or 2 sprays. But this one, Cool Water Parfum, smells much more natural. It's got more of a fresh vibe to it. It definitely smells close to Sauvage. It just smells significantly more fresh than it. Do I like it more than Black Op though? That's the question. Black Op smells much closer to the Dior Sauvage DNA than Parfum does. This smells very similar to it. It does have that green coniferous opening. Very nice, very attractive for that $40 to $50 price point. Black Op though, for $20, I'm gonna have to change up my recommendations simply because I would recommend Black Op over Craftsman in terms of how natural it smells, but in terms of the most natural smelling of the three, not including Cool Water Reborn obviously, I would recommend Cool Water Parfum. But is it worth double Black Op's price? Maybe, maybe not. You're gonna have to try these ones out for yourself. So, Whisky Black Op coming in at that $20 Australian price point. I think it's a solid fragrance for the price. I can't comment on the performance just yet, but if it performs over, 6 hours with 2 or 3 sprays, it's gonna get an easy recommendation from me. As far as budget fragrances go, this is quite an impressive scent. Now, do I recommend paying double for something like Cool Water Parfum? If you're after a much more natural smelling fragrance that has better